Welcome to Heal the World Show podcast. It's brought to you by the Healing Institute. I'm Parmelia Parham. I'm the founder of the Healing Institute, and we are a worldwide online platform of holistic practitioners. We really want to give people hope and healing. And we're available. We have a platform of holistic practitioners on our website. And we encourage you and invite you to come and connect with them and find out what they're doing and how they can help you with your healing journey, because I say we're all on a healing journey. So I created the Healing Institute because I'm really passionate about educating about healing and health. I've been using holistic healing myself for well over 30 years, and I know that it works. And the other reason that I created the Healing Institute is because we did have a tragedy in our family. A few years ago, my mom passed away at a very young age. She was only 61, and it was due to complications of a medication that she'd been on for a very long time. And not once did her doctor ever say that being on this medication for a long time could affect her kidneys. So unfortunately, she passed away right before Christmas. I was 5 months pregnant with my son. And I say it's not only a tragedy that she died so young, but also my children didn't get to know their grandmother. And I just don't want that happening for other families. So the Healing Institute is really very near and dear to my heart, so that we can meet people. You can meet people that have holistic modalities, and they can help you on your healing journey. And so then I created the Heal the World Show podcast, and we do this every Friday morning. I'm in Pacific time, so we do it every Friday morning, and it's half an hour long. And I invite some of the most amazing holistic practitioners to come and be my guest co-host. And so we talk about their area of expertise and what they have happening. Now, April apparently is World Health Month. So how great is that? And so I'm just so very delighted today that we have Sandra Combe with us. And she's got an amazing story. So she's the founder of Stop the Bypass. And so I really wanted her to be part of our Heal the World show during April, while we're talking about health and healing for World Health Month. Sandra, welcome. Welcome. So wonderful to have you here.
Thank you, Parmelia. I'm excited to be here. I'm coming from Southern California.
Excellent. Yes. So tell us just a little bit about you. I know we're going to get into the conversation about the Stop the Bypass and what that means. And I know you've written a book. So yeah, just tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. Well, once again, I live in Southern California, and I've been here most of my entire life. Like a lot of us, I got married young and had a child. Interesting, I married a man that played professional baseball.
Wow.
So I had an opportunity from the beginning, to travel, to really get out into the world. And I started my corporate at about the age of 30. And what I did was I grew in the ranks and climbed that corporate ladder, Parmelia. I was an environmental leader for an oil and gas industry that was a very male-dominated world.
Would be. Absolutely.
And at about that 20-year mark, for me to continue to compete is I had to get my MBA. And I went back to school. At 48, I graduated with my MBA. At 49, I had a massive heart attack.
Oh my goodness.
So stressed out with everything and all the roles that I was playing in life. And God gave me a timeout. I was out of work for a year. And during that year, I opened my own healing arts. And I basically started my becoming a healing practitioner and a teacher to heal myself. And my partner is my daughter. We're a mother-daughter team.
I love that.
So for the past 20 years, I had that very traumatic incident that changed my life. And during that year, like many of us, I went from allopathic to alternative to holistic to energy healing. And I did any and everything for me, for my family, and now for my clients. So I have a healing. Go ahead.
Yeah, one of the questions that I was thinking of is, Were you always kind of interested in holistic healing?
Well,
Or was that just a journey that you ended up on?
right. It was definitely a journey. Let me just see. Back in 1998, I had a sister that committed suicide.
Oh my goodness, I'm so
And that
sorry.
was such a life-altering family, well, I'm not going to say tragedy, but what that did is it really put me on the spiritual path of where are
Mm,
you, God?
mhm.
And,
Yes.
I
How can you
started
let this
going,
happen?
yeah, to
Yeah.
Van Prague, Sylvia Brown, I started all
Yes.
that
Mhm.
afterlife. And I have been studying death and dying for 30 years. But I continued to have these amazing experiences. I went back in the corporate world and then I retired and then I started traveling and then I had a near-death experience.
Right.
And
Yes.
it was that other time out, the wake-up call that the universe gave me to look back on my life. And then I could see how everything flowed into all the experiences and wake-up calls. So
Mhm.
I've been doing this work, well, it's been almost 20 years from since I've had my heart. And yeah, after all those experiences, I went into therapy. I started to write the book, Stop the Bypass, because I thought, it was an opportunity for me to get out of my mind and evaluate my life. But I have had some amazing experiences and got a choice to return to share this message.
And I love the top, or I love the title of your book, and also I know that's a presentation that you do. And so how did you come up with that title, Stop the Bypass? Because we think about bypass, we think about the heart and
Right,
the
right. Well,
bypasses, we hear about that physically, right?
right.
But I know it's
Well,
more than that.
I think what it is my whole life is I had been in my mind and had bypassed my heart, because then you'd have to
Yes.
feel again. And,
Yes.
I just got so busy with all the roles of life. Yeah, there was a part of me that lost me.
Yes.
So then I had the bypass. So, I mean, I literally had the bypass. I have 5 stents and 3 bridges. I had a triple bypass. I call it my 8-path fold. My,
I love it.
Buddhist, the whole thing of my life. So, yeah, it was for me to realize everything I've done to bypass my life, but yet I needed every one of those experiences to bring me to who I am.
Yes.
So for me, my message and my mission was to return to stop my own bypass. And
Mhm.
then I could carry the torch for others. But in stopping the bypasses, I had to see the value and the lesson in every experience of my life.
And that is always, I believe, what happens to us. And sometimes, quite often, we do need that kind of wake up call,
Yeah.
whatever
Oh,
that
yeah.
might be, a heart attack. I know I needed the 2x4 up the side of my head because when I was in my darkest moments and didn't know what was going to happen with my life, um, I think what's really important too is how aware you were of
Right. Yeah.
how that was going to unfold in your life. And I think awareness is a key component of who we are. When we're not aware, we don't know what to do or we feel lost. And I just quickly want to just welcome Marie Piplavec. She's in the green room, hanging out in the back. Marie's one of our amazing holistic practitioners, and she is a conscious breathing facilitator. So I know she totally understands what we're talking about
Yeah.
awareness. And she also really helps women who are um, in that stage in life where they know they have to change, but they're not sure quite what to do and where to go. So welcome, Marie. We're glad that you're here. And yeah, so that is so very important. I totally agree that that awareness is I think that almost the key to,
Right.
because I and I'm sure you've met many people and our clients that we have when they get that sort of light bulb moment where they
Oh, yeah.
finally can understand why things are going on and why things are happening for them.
Right. And how that all evolved, Parmelia, and welcome, Marie. And I honor your platform, the Healing Institute,
Thank
and this
you.
whole Heal the World, and the month of. I think about healing being such a dynamic balance of our life.
It
And
is. Yeah.
you know, a lot of us look at it, and a lot, for me, as I always thought, life happened to me, life happened for me. And in my new evolution of awakening, and many of them say it, you know, from the Tony Robbins to the Dr. Joe Dispenza, is life happens from you.
From you.
From
Exactly.
you. Right. So, you know, after everything that happened in my life, running the corporate, becoming an entrepreneur for healing arts, I have every credential, a full spectrum of everything. As I started studying spirituality and the mysteries of life, I call myself a truth seeker. Now I
Yes.
call myself a truth finder.
Yes.
So it was very interesting to have more than a parallel path, so that you know, everything came into alignment. And after I had that NDE, Parmelia, and you know, it was such a miracle. If you want me to talk about it, you know, I
Yes,
just say
absolutely.
that you know, it was in the backyard at a family barbecue. And they told me to get in and get my new bathing suit wet. I had just been at a big spiritual retreat in Costa Rica. That's where I met Brian and a bunch of folks. I had a meltdown, awakening, whatever you want to say it was. And I had just lost 20 pounds in 2 months, which I believe is emotional baggage. My
Yes.
daughter said, get in and get your new bathing suit wet. And I did. And for 2 minutes, they thought I was meditating underwater, but I was unconscious. And they diagnosed that I was dehydrated. But then the rescue began, and for 7 minutes until the fire department got there, my daughter gave me her breath of life, coming full circle. My son-in-law, you know, did CPR. So it was after this 9 minute mark, which of course I know in numerology is completion,
Yes.
came, went to the hospital, was in an induced coma for 3 days, and then I woke up. To me, I had an opportunity to review my life. I believe a lot in, you know, the Tibet and the Buddhism. You know, we get a chance to review our life, and a choice to return. And 3 days later, I woke up, and 3 days later, I walked out of the hospital, a complete miracle. And then I knew that my life, boom, had changed forever.
Yes. And so such what a beautiful experience. I mean, when you look back
Oh,
on it, you know, it really was a beautiful experience. I'm sure it was horrific for your family at the time.
yeah.
They were
Yeah,
trying to
definitely. Because I
revive
say I was
mom.
in, right, I was in bliss. And I call myself, people said, you know, like, where were you? I say the space between space, because there was a part of me that got to witness an aspect of me that witnessed it all, but, you know, I was unconscious. But you're right. For my family, it was the biggest trauma of their earth. And right now, my daughter is doing the audio in my book for Stop the Bypass.
Mm.
And we're doing it through my daughter's eyes, which happens to be one of the
Oh,
beautiful songs that we
yes.
love, right?
Yes.
And you know, just the awareness that there was one experience, but everybody experienced something different from that moment.
Yes, that's very creative to have that have your daughter explain how that happened through her eyes, because
Right,
usually as an author you're just telling your story, your side of the story, right? So
right.
it's always very I love the fact when people bring that other area in. So
Yeah.
Marie says it's a powerful realization. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it is. I'm in this networking group with Parmelia, Infinite Business Results, and also Your Holistic Alliance. And one of the things we've done, Marie, is to put together, you know, an 8 minute spotlight. I have signature speeches. I've been on a global influencer, a speakers bureau, and my signature talk is Stop Bypassing Your Happy Life. But you know, it took me having to have all those experiences to be able to share that wake up call, you know, with the world. And yeah, I'd have to say that you know, the realization was life changing. And in my book is a memoir, but it's really for you to connect the dots of your own life. You know, the stress that we put our through, how our heart leads the way, you know, how we're so busy making a living, we forgot to live. And I think then this Stop the Bypass is for us to remember to breathe. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yes.
for decades as the healing arts, you know, meditation, mindfulness, breathing, what I realized is everything that I had studied my whole life, I now had to live. And that's what I'm teaching people to do, is to live, that the energy is really the consciousness and the energy of who we are. So
And
I
that's
have an
so,
unbelievable amount of energy.
so you do. It's so very important too, I think, for those of us that have had these lessons, for us now to teach others or be the example, or as we mentioned before we started recording, we're the pioneers. We're the ones that are available now for other people to know what's going on. And we now know from the science that it's really the heart brain, not this
Right.
conscious brain, but it's our heart that rules what's going on with our life and our subconscious. So we know that there's more science around that now, which we can embrace. I also like to think about our spirituality and how that needs to be part of who we are and how we're living our life. And when I say spirituality for, our audience or people who are listening later, I don't mean a religion of any kind. I mean, that's that spirituality that's coming from you, that who you are as a unique person and how you see yourself in the world and how you see yourself engaging with other people and being that example in the world. So that's so very important. And those of us that have had these experiences now, we need to show up. The rest of the world needs us. And I'm not saying that from any kind of ego. I'm just saying that because we need to share our own experiences so other people know they're not alone.
Right.
Because I think that's what happens a lot. People think that they're all by themselves, they're alone, that what's happening to them has not happened to anyone else. And just listening to your stories about your heart attack and also your NDE, I mean, that is just so profound for people to realize that it's
Right. And yeah, I acknowledge the whole spirituality and the wonderment of life. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'd have to just say that in writing this book, in the appendix, I'm doing other voices, and I'm doing a chapter with my daughter. I'm doing
Mhm.
a chapter with my editor Brian, because he has had this whole evolution. So it's been 4 years since my NDE. I've been on this life coaching, healing journey. And it's been this evolution of awareness. And now that I'm doing podcasts and I'm doing workshops, I'm now talking about frequently asked questions
Mm.
about near-death experiences. So it's going to be more than a memoir. It's going to be, the takeaways that, Parmelia, in my 8-minute spotlight with the group is, if you had a second chance to live with the wisdom you have, what would you do different?
Yes.
And that's the awareness and the awakening and the new relationship with life, reconciling with life and just starting a new beginning. And that's what that book ended up being. Not an old chapter, but this
Mm.
new chapter of living, not dying. My first, I'm an international bestseller in anthology, and I wrote a chapter called Dying to Live, which was really a prelude to the prologue of Stop the Bypass. But it was, I've got it right here, like dying to breathe, dying to serve, dying to live, dying to be safe, dying to feel alive. I mean, that was my life. And then I had that wake up call. And then I got to just see the gift and the value that death was the teacher that showed me the importance of living, that we have forgotten. We came here to have fun, Parmelia. We came
Yeah,
here to
we're here for
explore
joy,
life.
not a lot of grief.
We came here and we bury all our shame and our shadow and our trauma. It shows up in illness and disease and discomfort in our body. So I
Doesn't
had
have
to
to be. We don't
Yeah,
have to
I had
carry
to pull
that.
out the tools like you. We all have the tool belt. Is it meditation today? Is it mindfulness? But this breathing, the breath of life, has been huge in keeping me anchored.
Beautiful. And
Mm.
something you said really, I just want to mention that because oftentimes we think we don't, we think about starting over again, or
Yeah.
it's a brand new thing, and that kind of that can be kind of we can be fearful of it, or we're not sure where we're going. But for I think for us to get comfortable with the fact that, okay, the past is the past. We don't need to drag it along with us. We can start again. we can have a brand new way of looking and a brand new way of thinking, and a brand new way of being. And it can be the beginning. It can be the beginning of a whole beautiful way of living. So oftentimes people I'm talking to, and they seem to think that they have to drag that old along with them, because
Right.
rather than just looking at it as that was that experience, and now I'm now going to have a new experience. Marie's put something in the chat, and living is in the moment. So the focus on the past and future keeps us stuck in wanting more and more. So, and we keep feeding the past. We keep recreating it instead of moving into the now and the future. So true. Yes.
Oh, I acknowledge those. I mean, you know, and ground and uplift all those all at once. So, yeah, I think it's amazing that we can continue to learn from the past, but you're right. It does keep vital energy to keep that past alive, even in the stuff that we bury. You know, it's going to show up in our body until we're ready to face the unresolved trauma. And that's what I did, Parmelia, with that 3-year life coaching is, I call it the unmask experience. To find that authentic, truest self, I started taking off my masks. You know, I was the overachiever. I was the people pleaser. I was one of the boys to fit in. And as I did that, I've lost 50 pounds. That emotional baggage is real.
It's unbelievable
It's like
how our
pulling off,
emotions affect our bodies. And of course,
right, the
that's the
layers,
work
you know, and
that I
being
do,
stuck in that
right?
cocoon and feeling like, now for a while, I felt like I'm hanging out, you know, I'm ready to fly. But I'm still hanging on to that past because, you know, that there had always been the fear of the unknown instead of now, you know, people say, you know, are you fearful of dying? I'm fearful of not living.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, it doesn't have anything to do with dying. It has everything to do with living. So I think this unmask experience is a program coming out of Stop the Bypass, but it's what I've done to unravel the tapestry of my own life.
Yes. Beautiful. I love that. And that is really, how we find out who our inner self is.
Yeah.
And, we've been on, you and I and Marie and the other people in the Healing Institute, we've all been on our journeys, on our healing and health journey. We all have our own stories to tell. What I think is so important for us as the example is to be able to tell those stories so that other people will be able to tell their stories, that they can
Right.
have the courage to then tell their stories. And as we do that, as you said, like physically, you've released 50 pounds. Well, imagine what that energy was that was hanging on. You were hanging on to those extra 50 pounds of energy. And our bodies are amazing. We just need to give them all the right conditions, because our bodies will tell us when something's not right, but we have not been trained, or we haven't grown up to learn to listen to our physical bodies. We've turned it over to somebody else if something was going wrong with us. And that hasn't done us any justice at all. It's only made things worse. So now we are, from a holistic point of view, now we're looking at what the root cause is.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
causing that physical discomfort? What is causing that emotional stress, or that mental anxiety? What is the root cause of that? Let's not just band-aid it or medicate it so that you can just kind of exist. I love your outlook on life, about how really now you want to live your life the best you can possibly live it. And I think we all need to strive towards that,
Right.
because
And
then
and
we're
and for
serving, we're
yeah,
serving, we're doing better in the world, because now we know who we are.
right, because the freedom I found, Parmelia, is what we're all looking for. Reclaiming that personal power that we've given away to everything and everybody. But my freedom came from unmasking and living, well, this what I call the full-on life. You know,
Yes.
in my business called, I call it exquisite life. You know, the life that we all deserve. For me, the life of my dreams and a life that felt like mine.
Yeah, absolutely. And the life we're actually here to live,
Yeah.
not to be, not to be someone else's. Um, I was raised in a lovely family, but there was still expectations for me to be perfect, for me to be the perfect daughter, for then, to be the perfect mother and the perfect wife. And so these little suits of clothes we put on ourselves, because those expectations actually are other people's expectations of who we
Yeah.
are. And when you can, as you say, take the mask off
Right.
and you can just be you, but we also need to know who that is.
Yeah.
And so we do need to do that introspection. We need to do that searching and the finding and taking the courses and going to the retreats and going to Ireland to your
Yeah.
meditation retreat. Oh,
Well, and that personal growth is what allows the transformation.
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I've been blessed to have a sacred space that I can unplug from my reality. And I
Mm,
told you that, my wellness center, I call it my Mount Sinai, but it's
yes.
just a place that I could receive. And, we all want to have a kingdom of heaven on earth if it's inside our own hearts. And that's where, I've learned that, mine is.
Beautiful.
Because
Beautiful.
everybody, says, where did you go? I don't remember ever hovering outside of my body, Parmelia. I believe that I was in the brightness of my own heart.
Hmm. Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. I love that picture. I have a beautiful picture of that. Well, this has just been delightful to have this conversation with you, Sandra. I'm so happy that you were able to pop on and be part of our Heal the World
Yeah.
show today.
Well,
Um,
and like I said, I think the work that you're doing and the networking and mastermind and everything that we continue to do together is, just been an amazing opportunity for us to grow.
yes, thank you. I want to, this is my wish. My last breath, I want to have learned something new.
Yeah. Right. And for me, yeah, the last breath is, yeah, the standing in the truth and the integrity of life. And
Absolutely, absolutely. So actually, this is our 87th episode, which is pretty
wow.
cool. We've been doing this for a year and a half. Um, and I wanted to just let people know our vision at the Healing Institute is to create a community of health practitioners, and we actually customize whatever you need. So it's not a one size fits all. We meet you as our clients, and whatever your specific requirements are, then that's what we work with. We all have our own special modalities, but we definitely take what your needs are into consideration. Our motto is service with love. We believe in love and we believe in service. And we have a big ask. Please let people know about us. Let people know about the Healing Institute. Please share this podcast with your friends and your family and your community. We really want to make an impact on health and healing in the world, and we are asking you to help us do that. So thanks again, Sandra. This has been
Thank
delightful to
you.
have you here. We'll see you next week on Heal the World Show podcast. Next week is actually, it's the 11th of April and it's World Breathing Day. So I'm delighted that Marie, who's part of our Healing Institute, is going to be my guest co-host. Next week, we're going to talk about breathing. We're even going to do a little breathing meditation. So we will welcome you back for next Friday on Heal the World Show podcast.